Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're doing a deep dive, a complete teardown, really, of a digital gaming platform that's been making some serious noise lately. I'm talking about Online Casino Canada X. We're going to strip away the marketing fluff and look strictly at their documentation, their features, and how they actually operate. If you've ever wondered how modern online casinos hyper-target specific markets to capture users, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this. Just listen to their core claim right out of the gate. The ultimate online casino Canada has to offer. Talk about confidence, right? They aren't trying to boil the ocean or be everything to everyone across the globe. No, their entire focus, and our focus for today, is purely on how they target the Canadian market. They've built their whole brand, their payment pipelines, their entire promotional strategy around what Canadian players specifically need. Let's see if they actually walk the walk. Here's our quick roadmap for the Explainer. We'll start with that Canadian focus. Then we'll break down the financial incentives, check out what's inside their game library, look at how they move the money with banking and payouts, and finally wrap up with the back end, safety, licensing, and support. Let's get right into it. All right, Section 1, the Canadian focus. Let's talk about hyper-localizing the digital experience. Look, if you've ever played on an international site, you already know the massive headache of currency exchange rates just chewing up your bankroll. Well, Casino Canada X bypasses that whole mess entirely. According to their site, they operate 100% in Canadian dollars. So that means absolutely zero nasty conversion fees eating into your deposits, or more importantly, your winnings. Plus, they feature native integration with Interac. And let's be real, Interac is basically the undisputed king of digital payments in Canada. They've essentially designed their cashier to feel exactly like your standard local e-commerce checkout. It's all about maximum convenience and immediate familiarity. Moving on to Section 2, we're breaking down the bonus and unpacking those financial incentives. $1,000 CAD. That is a pretty flashy headline number, isn't it? That's the maximum value of the 100% deposit match they're pushing to new users. Now, in the hyper-competitive online gaming world, the welcome package is literally your biggest hook. And dropping a four-figure match deposit right there on the homepage, that is clearly designed to turn heads and drive immediate signups. But you know us, we have to look under the hood. To actually trigger this offer, you've got to punch in this specific promo code CanadaX during registration. And they don't just stop at doubling your first deposit up to that grand. They also toss in 100 free spins credited to their top slots. But here's the crucial detail you always need to look for, the wagering requirement. Casino Canada X specifies a 35x wagering requirement. In plain English, that means a player has to bet 35 times the bonus amount before they can withdraw it as cash. They call this reasonable, and honestly, looking at the broader industry, it is a pretty standard mechanism. It basically stops people from just depositing, claiming the bonus, and instantly running off with the free money. The whole onboarding pipeline is engineered for pure speed. It's really just 4 quick steps. Register at onlinecasinocanada.com, pick your preferred Canadian banking method, apply that Canada Docs code, and finalize your deposit. That's it. They claim the balance doubling and those free spins hit your account the exact second you finish that 4th step, so you are literally instantly ready to play. Okay, Section 3. Let's take a look inside the game library itself and see what kind of entertainment value we're dealing with here. Over 2,000. That is the sheer volume of games sitting on this platform right now. 2,000. They emphasize that these aren't just filler titles either. They're sourced from top-tier industry developers. But what I find really notable from a UX perspective is that this entire massive library runs via high-definition streaming directly in your web or mobile browser. Absolutely no external software downloads are required. And that's a huge deal for player retention. People want instant access. They don't want to clutter up their devices. So how exactly do you organize over 2,000 games? Well, first up, you've got online slots. They highlight that these feature high RTP or return-to-player percentages, along with massive progressive jackpots and frequent bonus rounds. Next chunk is the live dealers section. This is for folks wanting that really immersive experience. Think HD streams of actual professional human dealers running blackjack, baccarat, and roulette around the clock. Finally, you have your standard digital table games, covering all the classic poker and roulette variants. Essentially, they're casting a huge net here to make sure there's entertainment value for every single betting strategy and skill level. Right, on to Section 4, banking and fast payouts. Let's talk about moving the money. The platform actually supports a surprisingly diverse mix of payment rails. You've got your traditional mainstays like Visa and MasterCard, popular Canadian e-wallets like Much Better, and as we mentioned earlier, Interac. But the real modern twist here is their embrace of decentralized finance. They natively support on-chain crypto settlements, explicitly listing Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. This is a super strategic move. It lets them capture the traditional retail crowd while simultaneously pulling in that tech-savvy, privacy-focused crypto demographic. Now here is where they claim a major differentiator: withdrawal speed. If you pull your winnings out using those localized or digital methods like Interac or crypto, they state the transaction processes in just a few hours. A few hours. Conversely, if you fall back on legacy financial systems, traditional cards or bank transfers, that timeline stretches out to 1 to 3 business days. So they are heavily incentivizing players to use modern digital payment methods by rewarding them with vastly superior liquidity. Moving into our final piece, Section 5, Safety, Licensing, and Support. Let's analyze the trust metrics. So how do they actually guarantee you aren't getting cheated? Well, they rely on independent RNG audits. RNG just stands for random number generator. The casino essentially guarantees mathematical fairness by bringing in independent testing agencies. These third-party auditors dig into the back-end code to certify that every single flop spin, every dice roll, and every card dealt is entirely random and verifiably fair. It's not just a marketing promise. They claim it's a mathematically certified reality. Let's zoom out and look at the broader operational infrastructure holding all this together. First off, they operate under verified offshore gaming licenses, which they state allows them to safely and legally accept international players while still adhering to strict fairness regulations. From a data security standpoint, the whole domain is locked down with advanced SSL encryption to protect your financial transactions. They also enforce a swift KYC, or Know Your Customer verification process. That's a mandatory regulatory step to block fraud and underage gambling, but they claim to have streamlined it so it doesn't bottleneck your payouts. Add in a heavily mobile-optimized interface and 24/7 live chat and email support, and you're looking at a backend deliberately designed to project total trust and reliability. Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. We've just deconstructed their localized payments, those tailored CAD bonuses, and the highly targeted marketing of Casino Canada X. And honestly, it forces us to ask a really interesting question. In an insanely competitive global digital market, is this kind of hyper-localization the ultimate winning strategy? By intensely focusing on removing the frictions for just one specific demographic, do these platforms inherently build a stickier, more loyal user base than the sites trying to cater to the entire world all at once? It's a fascinating business model to chew on. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope this deep dive gave you a much clearer understanding of the mechanics running under the hood of this platform.